This is the Doctor, President-elect of the High Council of Time Lords.
I am definitely a madman with a box.
Anyone for jelly, baby?
I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castobrus.
Good day to you, Doctor Who fans. This is the Big Blue Box Podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 63. .63 is a good number, right?
That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. 1963 is a good number as well, isn't it?
It is.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
How have you been?
I've been very well, thank you. I hope you guys, our listeners, have had a thoroughly good week and enjoyed last Saturday's episode of New Doctor Who.
Yes, I'm looking forward to reviewing this one with you.
Yes. We get back to some old school monsters. Although there have been in some current Who, haven't they? It was in the 50th.
Yeah.
The Day of the Doctor. Was it the Day of the Doctor?
The Day of the Doctor,
Indeed,
yeah.
Yes. But before that, it was, old school stuff.
That's right. A bit of Baker, wasn't it?
A little bit of Baker.
A little bit of Baker.
Yes.
Actually, it's surprising that they only ever featured in the one classic story, didn't they? It's surprising for such a good villain that they didn't bring them back before.
Yes, yeah, and they were good. They are a good monster as well.
They looked great, actually, in the original as well. I think they really stand up quite well, actually, when you watch Terror of the Zygons. I think they still look really good.
No, they do, mate. Indeed.
I'd probably say maybe even better than the new ones. I mean, I actually like the design. I think they managed to do a good job of in the new series of bringing them back. But I actually do think they sometimes look a bit rubbery. I do think that the old ones look even slightly better. So, but they've done a good job.
Yeah, we'll come on to those rubbery suckers later.
That's it, yeah.
You been up to anything cool?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I went to the Underwater Menace signing in Chiswick last weekend, which was really good fun. Actually, met Annika Wills and what's his name? Ian Chesterton. My goodness, William Russell.
Yep.
I was just going to say the person that I've wanted to meet forever, and I've forgotten his name. William Russell. I actually got to meet him, and what a lovely chap. Really was. He was just so friendly and giggly. It just took me by surprise. I took a sneaky selfie with him in all the confusion, and he was giggling away. He goes, "Oh, that's fun. That's good." It was lovely. Really great to meet him, and I got a nice picture of him and Annika. And Annika's lovely as well. She was worried about the Underwater Menace extras because I said how much I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, I haven't seen them yet. I don't see anything too bad, do I?" And I said, "No." I said, "You were very candid, very honest." She went, "Oh no," and I said, "No, in a good way." So, but yeah, it was a really good, fun day, actually. I'm so glad I got to meet William at last.
Oh, that's cool, mate.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. How about you?
Me? No, not much really.
Oh.
It's one of those boring weeks, I guess. Well, not boring, but just haven't been up to much, I suppose.
I know you got something good, though.
Yes, I did get through my my Pop Funko, the 10th Doctor limited edition.
Yeah.
The orange suit to match the Capaldi one.
Is it good?
It is very good.
Oh, nice.
It's very, very good. And they do look well together as well. I'll have to put a pic up on Facebook or something. But yeah, they look really good. Really happy with it.
Have you kept them boxed or are they out of the box?
They're boxed at the moment.
Right.
And I'm not sure whether to unbox them. Because they have got the limited edition stickers and whatnot over them. So I'm not sure. I probably will unbox them. I'm not really one for keeping... I mean, they're not going to be... I don't know. I can't imagine they're going to be worth a huge amount.
Well, actually, that one did disappear pretty quick off the website. And as far as I'm aware, it's still not on there. Because I do always look at the merchandise.2 site every day. And they're brilliant at informing you when these things come back on.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it. So I think he did disappear pretty quick. But there seems to be this thing in Funko land where fans are either boxed or unboxed. There's no in between.
Yeah.
So I just wondered. Yeah. I mean, I'm like you. I'm always undecided. Like when I got the new .2 ones that came out a couple of months back, they looked so good in the box, and but I also wanted them on display. So I was really sort of torn what to do.
Yeah, it is a tough one.
It's a tough one
because they do look. I mean, some of them they're not that great. The paint. I think we mentioned this before that the paintwork's not amazing sometimes, but these ones are actually pretty good. So I don't know.
But boxed for now, yeah.
Kept away for now.
It's good that you got both, though. I like nice pairing.
Yes, they are a nice pair. Indeed. Otherwise, it was cool listening to Mr. Capaldi on Radio 1 yesterday.
Well, I'm gutted because I haven't heard it. Somebody very kindly sent me a link. One of our listeners, Ryan Anthony, sent me a link to it, but I haven't had a chance to hear it yet. But
it was cool.
Yeah, it was good, was it?
Yeah, it was cool. He, the only downside it was he was being interviewed on the breakfast show, so you had that bloody Nick Grimshaw, who's got possibly one of the most annoying, even more annoying than Chris Moyles, his voice. But it was cool though listening to him. I was expecting him to fire a few more risque questions about Doctor Who. He asked him a couple of things about Clara mainly, and had they already filmed the scenes with her departure and all that stuff. And he did say that that's all done and dusted in terms of filming. Yeah, and he said it's all very sad, and it spans over a few episodes. The sadness of Clara's departure. So I think we could be in for a Rose version 2.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it sounds great, yeah. And that was it, really. He took on a few listeners' questions. It was just a case of, how do you feel about the sonic shades and why haven't you got a screwdriver? It wasn't anything that really pushed the boundaries. But it was cool listening to him, though, chew the fat over some Who.
Yeah, well, Grimmy interviewed Jenna, didn't he, when she announced she was leaving officially.
Well, she announced it, didn't she, on that show?
Yeah, so he obviously gets the big scoops. But I must admit, I only really listen to my local radio, so I'm not really down with the kids. I know who Grimmy is. I see him on the telly, and I'm not sure. But I did listen to the Jenna Coleman one, though, when he interviewed her.
Yeah.
You're
not missing much, mate.
No.
So that's been me. I've been very excited about the festival. I can't believe it's next weekend.
I know.
That's
really,
nuts.
really. I know, I can't believe it either, actually. We'll come on, there's some news about it in the news section, but it is certainly rattling around. I'll be really glad when it actually gets here, actually, because I am really looking forward to it. And it just seems every day somebody else I know is like, I'm going, I've got a ticket, so it's going to be such a massive meetup. It's going to be cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so if you guys, any listeners that are going down for the Saturday event, we'll be there on a Saturday. We're also meeting up with a load of people on the Friday night before, so you can get down there, have a few brewskis. Mm-hmm. We'll do that stuff. Yeah, we'll talk Who for hours on Friday night.
I'm having an early night Friday night though, because I want to be fresh and as a daisy.
Well, we've agreed that, haven't we?
Yeah, we've made a pact.
We've said that we're not going to be up late, and we're not going to have too much to drink because we want to be fresh and focused for Saturday.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
No, it's got to, because I'm such a lightweight these days. I'll be 2 pints the night before, and I'll be like a bear of a sore head the next day. So yeah, no, you must. I was going to say something about to say something that probably would have come out really wrong. Then I was about to say you must make sure I'm tucked up in bed.
Crikey.
And I thought, no, hang on, no. You know what I mean? A metaphorical.
Yes.
Bed.
Yeah. I think we all knew what you meant.
Yeah, that's
hopefully. Let's crack on with the news before that goes to a place. Yeah, let's do it. First up this week, we've had, so basically we kind of covered this a little bit in our intro stroke waffle. So Peter Capaldi was on the Radio 1 breakfast show talking to Grimmy. Bloody hell. And it was essentially the theme really that I got from this was it was very much about how he felt about being Doctor Who.
Because I was wondering why he was on there. I mean, in the nicest way, because normally they bring him on if it's the start of a series or maybe the end. But was there any reason? Is it to do with the build up to Clara?
Not really. No, it was just. I think they just wanted to have him on because they haven't had him on yet.
Oh right, okay.
So that was it. Yeah. So it wasn't to announce anything, and it wasn't to promote any episode coming up or anything like that. It was basically the two main themes was about him. So how does he feel about being Doctor Who, and how does he react to fans and that sort of stuff? And he basically said that, you know, before he got the role, he was very much you know, a fairly well-known actor, but you know, he wouldn't get mobbed walking down the street and stuff like that. And now he says that, you know, he can't really go anywhere without people, you know, staring at him, basically, and that kind of thing. And he and they said, well, does that bother you? And he said, well, no, because you know, the majority of Who fans are all lovely, you know, and everyone's so nice, and you know, everyone loves him being Doctor Who for the most part. So he's really into that sort of thing. You know, some actors, they do go a bit. I remember when Chris Eccleston was Doctor Who, he didn't really engage too much with the fans, you know, conventions and all that kind of stuff. But when David Tennant came on board, he really embraced it. You know, he kind of took it with the package. I think it was sold to him like, you know, you're going to have to deal with this on a much larger scale than just being an actor in a show. And I think Capaldi's gone down the same road. He's very much into it.
I wonder if it's because he was, you know, such a big fan of the show as well. I mean, I think he's very down to earth, Peter, and he does deal with it incredibly well. I've seen it firsthand. He's amazing with the fans, and I do wonder if it's because, you know, he's probably sort of putting himself in their shoes, if you like, because I mean, he's famously wrote to the Radio Times, and he was a kid. He's a proper, you know, old school Doctor Who fan. So I just wonder if he just sort of thinks, you know, if that was me meeting my Doctor, what would I want him to be like? Because he is incredible with the fans. He's so patient, and he does. I mean, I've been at a theatre show when he's come out, and he's been absolutely mobbed. But he will spend as much time as he can, signing and posting for pictures. And yeah, I mean, I was so impressed when I saw him doing that. Yeah, and it makes such a difference, because I have met people that have been completely the opposite to that. You know, they really just don't want to know. I mean, I know a lot of people have met Jenna and said she was very nice. So I have to say, when I met her, famously, I asked her for a photo when nobody else was around. Literally, I was the only person there. And she said no. She said, no, I haven't got time. And then stood next to me waiting for a car for literally 5 to 10 minutes, which infuriated me. But I think she may have got better, because I know a lot of people have met her, and maybe she's embraced it a bit. That was at the 50th, so she's had 2 years to... Do you know what I mean? Maybe she's got used to the crowd a bit more now. I don't know. But yeah. Right. So I think some people... But it does make such a difference. And Peter is brilliant with the fans, from what I've seen. But it must be, like you said, it must be quite overwhelming. And I mean, even in the nicest way, it must sometimes get to you. There must be moments when you think, oh, God, you know, quite tiresome, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it must take its toll, for sure.
It must do, yeah. So to keep being so good is a testament to him, I think.
Yeah, busy schedule. And the other theme as well was about Clara going. So he did touch on that a little bit and said that he can't reveal, obviously, the details of how she leaves. But apparently it's going to be very sad. And he was quite sad that she went as well. He said that he's not really a person that blubbers or gets teary, but he did say that, you know, when she went, he had a little... Yeah, it was quite sad for him, so...
I think the thing is, they've been giving quite a lot away, haven't they? I mean, we already know that she's pretty much probably not going to be there to the end of the series, so it's going to be in the next few episodes when she leaves. I just wish they'd sort of keep a bit more of these things under wrap. I know it's difficult, but I kind of feel like we already know too much, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't really want it discussed until afterwards, particularly. I don't want to know any more details, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, bit too many spoilers, yeah. But yeah, it's going to be... I think we've said this before. She's had a couple of exits now and then come back, which is one of the sort of annoying traits of the Moffat era, that happens quite a lot. And I think, you know, he's going to have to come up with something. Shocking is probably the wrong word, but do you know what I mean? She's got to go out with a bang, otherwise it's going to have no impact after what we've had before. Because if she'd have left like she was originally going to, just walking down the street, you can't do that again, because it's just going to be so underwhelming. So it's got to be something big, isn't it? Yeah,
well, he was in an interview with something this week and did say that Clara will never return.
Oh, the Moffat lies.
I know he does lie, but, you know, so far, I think it's going to be quite a big departure and quite sad, and I don't think we'll see Clara anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
After the series, anyway.
I don't think Jenna's going to want to return to it for any time soon either.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I think she's done with it. Yeah, she's done it for a while now. I think she's probably had enough as well. Yeah. So fair enough.
Yeah. It was good to hear him on the radio anyway.
Yes, I will listen to that link. I will catch up with that because I really want to hear it. Old Grimmy.
Old Grimmy, yeah.
Old Grimmy. Anyway.
All right, so you're in Doctor Who, aren't you? Blah, blah. I was like, freaking hell.
I don't need to listen to it. He's here in the room. Anyway, moving on in other news and sticking with Jenna Coleman, actually. In quite a surprise, I thought, twist, she was added to the lineup of the Doctor Who festival. Was this yesterday or the day before? A couple of days ago.
Day before yesterday, yeah. So Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday. Now, I say shocked because obviously we're both going, so we get emails, don't we?
Yep.
So telling us, oh, there's going to be an announcement Friday. I mean, we all remember the big build-up to the last one that turned out to be such a wet lettuce. But I don't know about you, but I didn't receive any email or notification of this.
I did.
You did?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't. First thing I knew about it, I still haven't actually, because I kept thinking this is odd. First thing I knew about it was someone said, oh, do you know Jenna Coleman's been added to the festival, the UK festival, on Facebook. I just saw someone chatting about it. I was like, oh, what? Don't be silly. And so I checked, and lo and behold, there it is.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, oh my goodness. Oh, well, I didn't manage to get any photos from the last thing. I'm going for it. So I added Jenna Coleman's photo op to the basket, 30 quid. I was like, oh, gosh. But yes, I haven't, after she refused a picture, I'm going to get it this time. I'm going to get her. Added it to the basket, went to checkout, and I was literally about to get it. And because I didn't even get that far before, they just all sold out. And I looked at the time slot. And I suddenly realised she's at the same time as Peter Capaldi. And I was thinking, well, how's that going to work? Because one of our listeners, Tom Dix, is very kindly sharing his photo op with me, with Peter Capaldi, because I didn't manage to get one. So I thought, well, I don't know whether to buy this, because if I get it, and am I going to be able to do both? It's really unclear. So I naively looked at the FAQs, thinking there might be something in there. Of course there wasn't. I contacted the festival people on Facebook, didn't get a reply. Lots of people were asking the same thing. Contacted them on Twitter and got the most sarcastic reply back, a really flippant, and other people were as well. Their replies were awful. They did actually apologise later on in the day for the way they'd answered people. They're basically just saying, yeah, you can buy it, but we it's up to you whether you manage to get it or not. We're not guaranteeing it. And they put something like, why don't you get if only you had a TARDIS. I was thinking, no, hang on, these are £30. These are £30 each, these photos. So people have paid 60 quid, and you're basically saying, yeah, we'll take your money, but you may not get it. You probably won't. In fact, the first tweet actually advised, have you got the rant music, by the way? Yeah. I just realised I am going down the rant line.
Carry on.
Yeah, Doctor Who Festival.
Yeah.
Listen to this. No, but they first of all did advise that they wouldn't recommend buying both because the chances are you're not going to make it to both because they're only there for 45 minutes. So both Peter and Jenna are having the photo op from 2 o'clock to 2:45. So obviously you've got to take into account, queuing and blah, blah, blah. And I suppose they're going to whip people through like cattle. So there's a chance you'll be able to do both. But it depends where you are in the queue. It depends, do you know what I mean? So the fact that they're willing to take £30 of your hard-earned money, but not even say you may get it, I think was disgusting. And, I don't know what they'll do. What will they do to those people that don't get one? Will they give them a refund? Probably not.
No, of course not.
No. So, but it was the flippant remarks from their Twitter account were quite frankly disgusting. And like I said, they did later apologise. They said, "Oh, sorry, yeah, I think whether they're just trying to be light-hearted because they didn't really want to give the truthful answer, if you know what I mean, trying to sort of find a way of telling you in a sort of jokey way, but which actually come across as quite rude. I don't know." But anyway, yeah. So I didn't add it to the basket. I was amazed I even got that far. I was like, so I could have actually got a picture with Jenna, but sadly it's not to be because of the dreadful organisation of this festival. I can only assume though that the fact that she's been added so late is because they really didn't know if she could appear. Do you know what I mean? Maybe she had commitment. Yeah. I can only assume it's because she's really only been added at the last minute that it's such a balls up of an organisation, a festival. Do you know what I mean? the organisation. Sorry, excuse my language, but that's the only reason I can think of for it. Because it just seems really stupid to schedule them both at the same time. But I'm guessing they've perhaps got no choice because of the way the rest of the festival's organised.
Yeah,
in terms of
yeah.
the stage shows and everything else, perhaps they had to do it then. But yeah, very disappointing for fans. And I know a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook were saying that they've bought both, and there's already a lot of confusion. And people are being told to contact this email address to clarify whether they'll be able to get both, and giving advice on what to do. But it's really not great, I don't think. But great that she's going to be there. I mean, I think we've all been waiting for Jenna to be added. I think we're all a bit miffed that she wasn't on the schedule a lot earlier. Maybe it's because she was filming that Victoria thing.
Possibly.
Yeah. But she is there, so she's been added. I'm assuming she's going to be on the stage doing a bit of talking. Would you say?
One would assume so, but you can. With this festival, you can't really bank on that.
Or is she just going to sort of, soldier in, get a few snaps done, and walk out? We don't know. No, I'm assuming she's going to be dragged onto stage, and I suppose this will be one of the. I suppose this. I don't know. I was going to say be one of the last Doctor Who things she does for a while, but I mean official things, if you know what I mean. If she's off doing other stuff, so yeah. It's good that she's going to be there.
It's good. It is good they've added there. It's just a bit of a, like you say, the organisational stuff has been very, very, very poor.
Very poor.
And I can only assume it's just a last minute thing, because with a week to go, the schedule would have been nailed down by now, and so they're just kind of squeezing her in. So, yeah. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I gotta say, I think. It's going to be great having her there. I think it has just been a bit of a. It almost seems like the whole thing was rushed, if you know what I mean. The whole way it's been planned just seems so haphazard. But yeah, it's good that she's going to be there. I do hope she gets on stage with Peter, and she may well have left by then in the series, is what I'm thinking. Trying to think what episode we'll be up to.
No, because that will be the second parter, the Zygon Invasion.
No. Zygon Invasion is this week. It'll be the following one. Is it Face? No. Not...
Oh, sorry, yes. It will be Sleep No More.
Oh, Sleep No More. Right, so it won't be a last one. Because we believe, we're not sure, but we believe her last one may be Face the Raven, isn't it? Is that the one?
Yes, possibly. And and they did actually say, going back to our first news story, that Maisie Williams is back for episode 10.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was that was a rumor before then, but then they did say that they're allowed to say that now. So yeah, she's back.
She's back
quite soon as well.
Yeah, the rattling round. Can't believe we're already halfway through.
Indeed. Right, let's get on to the last bit of news. So those guys you guys that are into collecting your Doctor Who figures from character, I know you are, mate. There's going to be an exclusive line of newbies for Toys R Us, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the picture now. Considering there wasn't much going on recently with Doctor Who figures, they're suddenly releasing quite a lot.
Yeah,
and I'm glad to see we've got some 5-inch. Well, they're now 5.5, aren't they? Inch figures are back. There's some nice stuff in here, actually. I mean, I know the 3.75 come in for a lot of stick, and rightly so a lot of the time. But some of these look good. I do like the look of this Capaldian spacesuit with these spiders. I think that looks a great little set. And we've got the Supreme Dalek, the black and gold one, which I absolutely love. I've never managed to get hold of him, so... Yeah, I don't know. These look pretty cool. I'll definitely be picking some of these up. I know you're not so much into the figures, but surely you're going to get one of the McGanns.
Possibly.
Surely.
Possibly. They do look quite cool. Figure. Yeah. I think it's from the Night of the Doctor episode. Yeah. Because he's got the cup or the goblet, whatever, in his hand. And the goblet. And yeah, but he does look very cool. And I think they're re-releasing Rose, aren't they, with K9?
K9! Yes, they are, yes.
Yep. And what else we got? Got Capaldi in the orange suit with a couple of spiders.
That's good.
From Kill the Moon, I think it was. We've got various Capaldi ones in different costumes.
We've got Cyber Danny.
Yep.
He's very good. We've got Police Uniform Amy. Sexy minx. We've got a dreadful Jenna Coleman in a purple dress, which has never even been in the show. That is the laziest figure ever. I mean, that's the figure they already released, but they've just painted the dress purple. Dreadful.
Yeah.
Matt Smith in Time of the Doctor outfit. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, got Danny. Did you say Danny Pink in the Cyberman?
Cyber Danny, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got some fairly good ones. I might pick up the McGann one.
Oh, I think I think that's a must-have.
Yeah.
The McGann one. We've got a couple of TARDISes as well, I see there. Bizarrely, they've got a money box one. TARDIS Talking Money Box. Funny enough, I just filmed a review for this yesterday because I got it from B&M for $9.99.
Okay.
But I'm noticing it's actually now being advertised as a Toys R Us exclusive for twice the price.
Oh.
Which is a bit bizarre. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. It certainly looks exactly the same in the picture, but yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
There's some good bits in there. I mean, I'm quite tempted to pick up quite a lot of these, actually, to be honest with you.
Of course you are.
Some of them are re-releases, though. I have to say. I mean, a lot of people out there will have a lot of this stuff. Like you've got the 11th Doctor in the cowboy hat. The police. Amy in police uniform is a re-release.
Yeah, so is Rose. Yeah,
so is Rose with the cane. There is a lot of stuff here that's just kind of been put in a new box.
Yeah. And the Matt Smith in the dark purple coat from the 50th day, the Doctor as well.
Yeah,
that's a re-release as well. So yeah, it's just repackaging up. I think the only new one is it McGann, and a couple of the Capaldi ones are the new ones.
Are you tempted with any of the Capaldi ones? Because it's
Possibly.
The same figure essentially, but with a different painted shirt.
Yeah, possibly. There's one that looks quite cool, which he's just got a plain white shirt on.
Yeah,
with the overcoat. That one looks quite cool.
Might be tempted.
The Clara one looks nothing like her though. They've really bodged that one up.
Yeah, it does. It's good. I think she looks very goth. That figure. It's like goth Clara.
Goth Clara. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, but yeah, I'll be getting a few of those bank money permitting, which it won't be actually after the festival because no doubt we'll spend a fortune there. But yeah, I'll at some point pick some of these up.
Yes, me too.
Yeah,
at least the McGann anyway.
Yeah, I definitely think out of all the figures, he's the best. He's the one you've got to have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get a McGann to go next to your 10 in his spacesuit, completely out of sight, different size.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're done for news, buddy.
Yes, yeah, good news.
So, what are we reviewing this week?
Oh, this week the Zygons are back at last. The Zygon Invasion.
Which one are you? Human or Zygon?
I don't answer that question.
Why not?
Because there is no question to answer. I don't accept it. My sister and I were the living embodiment of the peace we made. I will give all the lives that I have to protect it. You want to know who I am, Doctor? I am the peace. I am human and Zygon.
Like a hybrid.
A hybrid, if you like.
Well, I'm proud to know you, Osgood. And I promise that I won't tell anyone. But you're a human. Zygons need to keep the human original alive to refresh the body print. If you were a Zygon, you'd have changed back within days of your sister's death.
Those were the old rules. Before Zygons could pluck loved ones from your memory and wear their faces. Zygons only need to keep the original alive if they need more information from them. If the interrogation is over, then the original can die.
Hybrid again. What's going on with all these hybrids this series?
A hybrid indeed. So, the Zygon Invasion.
Peter Harness.
Yeah. So, story-wise, it's basically exactly as the title suggests.
Yeah. Which is unusual this series because most of the titles have been really hard to figure out the relevance to the episode, haven't they? But this one is very clear.
It is very clear. And it's a kind of, well, no, it's not. It's absolutely a continuation from last season when Osgood was replicated in the, sorry, not from last season, from the 50th, wasn't it? When Osgood was copied by a Zygon, but then when the two doctors kerfuffled with their memory, they couldn't figure out who was human and who was Zygon.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, there's now been it's kind of like a Men in Black scenario where they have aliens living amongst humans, but you don't know it because they're fitting in. This is a similar thing where there's Zygons living amongst, there's quite a lot of Zygons apparently, living amongst us, but there's been like a revolution between some of them. They've overtaken the high command that was in place, those two schoolgirls, which is weird. And now they basically want to wipe out all the humans and take over the Earth.
Yeah.
That really is as simple as that. And I like storylines like that.
So do I, yeah.
Because there's not... It doesn't require you to overthink anything. Pretty much off the bat, you know where you are.
Yeah.
And I think it was labelled up in this, was it something nightmare, was it? Scenario,
Nightmare scenario.
Nightmare scenario, yeah. So even from that, you can gauge that, the stuff is hitting the fan big time.
Yeah.
And that's literally it. The Zygons are taking over. And I have to say, at this point in this episode, they're doing a pretty good job as well.
They certainly are. Yeah, it does lead up to a very good... it builds up very well, I think, over the episode. Yeah, they certainly seem to be on form.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have we have an interesting twist as well. About 2/3 of the way through, which is quite cool. So what's your overall feeling on this before we kick off into a few more details?
Overall feeling was I really, really enjoyed it. Yes.
Okay.
Very, very much so.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
really. I've given it a couple of watches, actually. I've watched it 3 times. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was very good. And it's one of those episodes that, like you said, a nice, simple storyline. It seemed to whip along at a good pace. And it really did leave me, when it finished, really did leave me wanting the next episode straight away, which is always a good sign. You know what I mean? I really was like, when it finished, I was like, oh, what? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, my overall impression of this one is really good. How about you?
Yes, my overall impression was that it was very, very good. Very good. And I love the cliffhangers. I think I've said this a couple of times now. I'm absolutely loving these classic style cliffhangers at the end of the first part. It really is adding to, really leaving us, like you say, really wanting more. I thought it would, without jumping ahead actually, but as we're talking about it now, I actually thought it was a brilliant cliffhanger. It is a shame actually. This kind of brings me back to what I was saying a few minutes ago. It's a shame that we sort of get to know and see so much, because a lot of people, including me, have already sort of figured out, because of photos and promo pictures we've seen, have already kind of figured it out. But maybe not necessarily so. Maybe next week we'll have a bit of a twist to it. Do you know what I mean? But it was a great cliffhanger, I thought. Really, really built up well. But yeah, we'll go into that a bit more later. That was very good. So the script, Peter Harness, I thought was very good.
Yes.
I thought it was a brilliantly written episode.
What was the previous stories he's done? Because I know some people were sort of saying, oh, Peter Harness, he's a bit hit or miss. And I do get really lost with the different writers, actually. I'm just having a look to see. Oh, so he did Kill the Moon. Right, that's it, yeah. Because that was the episode that did divide fandom, isn't it? Kill the Moon.
Was it Kill the Moon? Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, Kill the Moon. I'm on Wiki. Good old Wiki.
Okay.
Can always be trusted. But that's right. So people were a little bit unsure about him. But I think he delivered on this one.
Yes, I think so. And this could have gone either way, you know. This episode, I was a little bit not worried or anything, but I was a little bit dubious about going into this one, because it could have been really terrible.
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
Which is what unfortunately we've seen in the last couple of weeks with Who. Not terrible, but not as strong as as the openers from this series.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it was really well written. And we had I think because we had a general mix of decent cast members. I think we had the Doctor and Clara, who were separated, which is always good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you the stories we've seen with Clara and the Doctor, not just Capaldi, but with Matt Smith as well, sometimes she can fall into that typical almost old school companion where she just follows him around, and does nothing but, moan in his ear or just be sarcastic and doesn't really add anything to the story.
Yeah.
But, in this one where they're separated off, the Doctor's going, he's doing his thing. She's off doing her thing. And then you've got Unit in the middle who are, once again, they're kind of at odds with what the Doctor wants them to do.
Yes.
Which is quite cool. Yeah. So I thought it was a good mix of story, and the pacing was really good as well. It was really steady throughout, because sometimes, especially on two-parters where they've got more time to look into the characters and explore, various scenes a bit longer, they can slow down a bit.
Yeah.
And it can slow up. But I thought this was really well paced and stuff as well. So script-wise, really, really cool. Let's kick off with Unit in this one, because we kind of found that the last story, where I think it was the opener actually, with Unit, where we wasn't really impressed.
They weren't in it very much, were they? In
Yeah.
The Magician's Apprentice, it was
That's
literally
right.
5 minutes.
Yeah, and the various scenes that they were there, they didn't really. It was one of the members from Unit. I always forget her name, which won't surprise you at all. Where she's basically, I think she's like the IT bod for Unit. She's essentially in The Magician's Apprentice. She was very much like, yes, this pattern emerging here.
Yes.
And Clara was like, well, why don't we do this? Oh, tap tap tap. Yes, this is what's going on. Whereas in this one, I think they were a bit more. Sort of getting their hands dirty, if you like, because she goes off with Clara, doesn't she? And she explores why people are disappearing in the lifts and stuff. And she's out there and she's doing a bit more. And the same with Kate Stewart as well. She's off doing her thing. She's a lot more involved. She's not just, marching around, barking orders and stuff. So unit-wise, I thought they were written a lot better in this one. And the same goes for the actual soldiers in Unit as well, when they surround the church and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's good. That was a very good scene. That,
beautifully written, all that stuff as well. So, what do you reckon to Unit? I thought they were a lot more what we expect Unit to be like.
Yes,
in this
me
one.
too. Yeah. I thought they were used well, and we got to sort of get to know the characters a little bit more. I mean, Kate Stewart. Is it Gemma Redgrave? Gemma Redgrave. Yeah. She's quite an unusual actor actually, because a lot of people say she's a bit wooden. I actually think she's quite good. I think what it is I think she kind of underplays the role,
Right.
which a lot of people find, mistake for her sort of not giving a lot, if you know what I mean. Like, for example, when the policewoman turned into Zygon, her reaction was very stilted. It wasn't a sort of scream or a horror look, or do you know what I mean? And that's kind of just her acting style. And I think you either like it or you don't. But no, I do. I thought Unit were good in this, and I thought Gemma Redgrave was good in it, because she was given quite a bit to do, sort of hopping all over different countries and stuff, and investigating. And yeah, I generally thought they were really good. But the scene in the church you mentioned as well, with the soldiers, was quite a powerful scene actually, quite strong in a way. I mean, when the guy is holding the gun to the woman. I mean, we all know it's a Zygon in her head, but just the woman, saying, "You're going to kill me, aren't you? And I am your mum." You sort of really don't want him to kill her, even though actually really it's a Zygon. Then you've got the other Unit soldier saying, "Do it," and she's good. I really like that actress. She wasn't in it that much. I'm useless at names. Don't know what her name is. She's been in lots of things.
Yeah, that's really annoying, because she was in the thick of it with Peter Capaldi.
Yes,
and she was really good in that as well.
Yeah.
What's her name? She was Unit Commander Walsh, Rebecca Front.
Rebecca Front. Yeah, she's cool. I do like her. But yeah, I mean, that was a great scene. And yeah, like you said, Unit were heavily involved in this, but they weren't just following the Doctor around like they often do and just standing there. They actually, if anything, the Doctor was actually behind Unit in this story, wasn't he? I mean, they were sort of taking control of the situation, and the Doctor was kind of just there, in the background a lot of the time.
Yeah. They were definitely taking charge a lot more.
Yeah.
And although the Doctor was very much like, you can't do this and you can't do that, because their immediate plan of action was to just bomb the hell out of these various locations, weren't they? And the Doctor was like, you can't do that. And they actually went through with it to the point where it was a last second thing, because I think one of the unit members who was arming the missiles and stuff could see her family on the monitor, and she kind of wimped out at the last minute. But they were ready to push the button. They were ready to do it.
Actually, that's one of the things, just going back to what you said about the storyline being simple. The storyline also is very close to knuckle with certain, real life things going on in the world at the moment, isn't there? There's a lot of parallel to stuff. So although it was quite a simple story, I think the sort of parallels to a lot of the sort of acts of terrorism and the way that the world is going were very, very clear to see in this episode, didn't you think?
Yeah.
They weren't exactly rammed down your throat, but they were very obvious, I thought, myself. Like even with the, when Osgood is being forced to video a message to send to unit, and you've got two Zygons stood either side of her. So the whole sort of thing was very... I think there's a bit of a message in there, I thought, in a way.
Yeah.
It's certainly giving us food for thought about what's going on in the real world. But again, doing it in such a way, it didn't really sort of ram it down your throat. But it was clear enough, I thought.
Yes, there's definitely a message in there of, and like you say, there are a couple of almost parallels.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too political here, but when everything kicked off over in Syria, I think the UK was one of the first countries to start airstrikes and stuff like that. And that's kind of what the unit are doing. Their kind of knee-jerk reaction is to use military force, and you have the Doctor saying, no, this isn't the right way to do it. And it's only by chance that they don't end up doing it. Because that woman sees her family and she's, she resists, and, and everything's fine. So there's definitely a message in there somewhere. And it does run parallel to a lot of things that are happening in everyday life, which is interesting, because Doctor Who very rarely goes into that stuff. Because it's very much a children's and an adult show. It can be very light and fluffy at times. Yeah. Even during the really dark episodes, it still doesn't have almost a real world message to it. So it's quite cool to see that.
Yeah, I thought it was done really well, actually.
Yeah.
As I say, the way it was written, it was, I wouldn't say subtle, but it wasn't. It wasn't also too much. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, mate. Unit were very cool. What did you think to the Zygons themselves? Because I really like the opening scene where the Doctor's hanging around it sounds very dodgy, but the Doctor's hanging around a kid's playground
in shades,
in sunglasses, and he's kind of following these two girls, aren't they? I assume they're sisters.
Yeah.
So when you describe it like that, it's very dodgy, but it's not. It's he knows that those two, in human form, are the Zygon High Command.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really well done, because half of me was expecting, is he wrong?
Yeah, exactly. You think it's going to be a comedy scene.
Yeah. You think like their parents are going to turn up, or a teacher or something. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, sorry. But so I thought that was really cool, and the way that they've done the Zygons actually kind of melting into society, and you not knowing they're there, and then you've got this little splinter group, as the Doctor describes them, that start this revolution and stuff. I thought that was really, as an idea, that's very cool, and I can imagine it would have been very difficult to pitch that to Moffat and the BBC, because there's nothing else to go on. When you're pitching that idea, all you've got is, well, the Zygons are living amongst us, and then some of them are going to attack, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we're going back to that simplistic plot line again.
I gotta say, very simple idea, but I love it because it gives the whole episode an edge, because who can you trust?
Yes.
You don't know, do you? It's like, it's a bit like, you could be we could be sat having the conversation at the festival, but I might be a Zygon, and you don't know. I might be just about to rip your head off at any minute, and it's that whole thing. Do you know what I mean? If you just don't know, and so if you imagine, I know I'm being silly, but if you imagine that scenario for real, though, that you're with your best friend or whatever, but you just don't know who's Zygon human. It's a simple idea, but it's brilliant. The fact that they could turn on you at any second and you wouldn't have a clue is scary. And I think, it works really well.
It's great, isn't it? And it induces panic.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, nobody knows who is who, and what's what. Because there was that weapon, though, wasn't there, that the Doctor had confiscated from UNIT, which was like this gas bomb thing, which kind of didn't they say that it unravels their DNA and turns them inside out?
Yeah, what a horrible thought.
It sounds gruesome. So the Doctor's confiscated that, and I think that was the only one thing in this episode which made me think that, because we'll come on to the cliffhanger, but essentially the cliffhanger was, it looks like the Doctor's about to be killed.
Yeah.
Essentially. And I thought that was at odds with what they were talking about earlier, because I would have thought that a weapon of that power that could just instantly, eradicate all of the Zygons, I would have thought that they would have wanted him alive to get that back.
Yeah, I suppose so, because it's kind of it's almost that bit when they talk about it, it's kind of a throwaway sort of little scene in the sense. It doesn't get mentioned again, does it? Like it's just Kate Stewart telling Clara basically that the Doctor took it, so they can't use it. I suppose it's probably there just to say, look, we can't wrap this episode up easily. There is a real danger here. Like they haven't got a reset button, if you know what I mean. It's not really mentioned after that. Well,
I thought it was more poignant. I thought it was more important than that. Because there's that conversation, isn't there, where the Doctor's going off in the president's plane. Yeah, because he's taken his position again as president of the world, which is brilliant. So he's off, and it just leaves Kate Stewart and Clara. Now, at this point in the episode, they're not who we think they are.
No, that's right. We don't know that at that point. But
at that point, we're unaware. However, they're not who we think they are. So they're talking about this weapon, and they clearly want it because they're like, where is it? And the only way she describes it is somebody with a TARDIS.
Right, yeah.
So at that point, as who they are, they're discussing this weapon that is potentially fatal to all Zygons, and they know exactly who has it. So that's the only thing that I couldn't understand in the episode was, without the Doctor, they can't get into the TARDIS to retrieve it.
Yeah, mind you, Kate's not a Zygon at that point, is she, or is she? I can't quite remember, to be honest.
I think so. Yeah.
Is she? Yeah, maybe she is. Yeah, I suppose it is towards the end. Mm-hmm. The other thing I didn't get is, why is the Doctor using the aeroplane to travel? Why doesn't he just jump in the TARDIS? It'd be so much quicker and a lot less dangerous. That's the only thing I thought of. I think he does have a throwaway line of, I like using the big plane or something. But I did kind of think that. I thought, I don't know, if you're in the middle of a nightmare scenario that you're in, you probably would just jump in the TARDIS to go to wherever it is he's going. Rather than taking a long flight that could easily be blown out the sky. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that did occur to me at that point as well. I just want to quickly jump back to the very start of this episode, though, because I'm just wondering what's going through your head at the very, very beginning when it comes up with the typo. Once upon a time, there were 3 Doctors, 2 Osgoods, 1 Peace Treaty, and then we get a flashback to the 50th, and David and Matt and the War Doctor and... were you surprised that the episode started like that? Because I was like, oh, wow, my heart was beating a little bit. Actually, I was like, oh, we are straight back into it.
I wasn't surprised because Moffat is very much to-in and throw-in across timelines. So I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised isn't the word. But I was like, oh, wow. So they're going to pick up on a little bit of this from the 50th, which is cool.
See, I think I was pleased more than anything because...
Yes, pleased,
yeah. I was going to say, I was quite disappointed how that storyline was just left to trail off in the 50th. Yeah. So I think as soon as this started, the fact that it picked up straight off from there, I thought, oh, good, we are going back. Because there's part of me that worried this was going to... Well, I knew it was going to tie in with that, but I wasn't sure quite how or whether it would even be sort of mentioned. Do you know what I mean? So the fact it started straight from where we left off pleased me a lot, because I like things to be concluded and what's the word I'm looking for, like completist, and do you know what I mean? So I wanted it that way. So I was really, really pleased when it started like that. And I don't know why, but just the fact it said there were 3 doctors on the screen just made me instantly think of the classic TV series, The 3 Doctors. I wondered where we were going, but
Yes,
I should have known.
Yeah.
But I loved that start and all that thing with the Osgood box as well.
Yep.
I thought the first sort of 5 minutes were just fantastic. Really drew me in immediately. I was sort of straight away. I was thinking, "What's the Osgood box? What's this?" You know, a really nice little idea thrown in within the first few minutes of the episode. I thought I'm really looking forward to finding out what the hell that is as well.
Yes, it's very cool. I think that scene where Osgood is filming that video to say like she's essentially saying if you're watching this, then something's gone horribly wrong. But that really did draw you in because you were like, what's this about? Because when we left, obviously we knew that there was 2 of them, but we didn't know that things had got pretty bad. Yeah. So it was really good to see this kind of homemade video that she'd done. And you're like, oh no, what's going on? So it was very cool. I'm with you on that one. I love the opening.
There was some nice
Very
jumpy scenes in this story as well, because I'm thinking of that bit where she's hiding under the table. You know it's coming, but probably a testament to Murray's music, which was fantastic in this story. It was, there was this sort of really chilling bit of music every time the Zygons were creeping round, and particularly that scene when she's under the desk. It was real proper. You knew it was coming, but it's real proper jumpy because they left it just a split second longer than you'd expect for it to come back. Yeah, it was really good. And there was bits in the lift as well when they were creeping in, and I was actually quite sort of not on the edge of my seat, but I was really like, quite jumpy, which I loved because there hasn't been that much of it in Doctor Who lately, where I've been properly like, what's going to happen? Like properly ready to sort of jump out my seat, if you like. Yeah. So that was another thing I liked about it, is it had some quite good dark tones in this.
Yeah, it was very cool.
As well as some nice humour, like you said about the beginning with the kids as well. It was sort of played for laughs in a sense, but it didn't go over the top. Like you said, it turned out that they were Zygons, so it wasn't sort of it wasn't a bit of fluff. It actually had meaning to it. So there was some nice humour in it as well.
No, I agree, man. It was good.
Yeah.
What did you think to... Okay, anything you want to mention about the Zygons? Because I thought they were... The costume was pretty much the same as we'd seen in Day of the Doctor. There wasn't really anything different about them. I think some of the faces were different because different actors to play different Zygons. But overall, I think they look pretty good. I think the only thing that... did we say earlier that they have a tendency to look a bit rubbery? Yeah,
that's the only thing. I think maybe just... I don't know what they can do about that, because I suppose a lot of it, you're seeing them outside, so that's just naturally going to make them look like, a bit rubbery. But I don't know, maybe if they just added a bit of slime to them or something, I don't know. It's a very minor thing to pick up, but they do occasionally just look a little bit rubbery. But I like the fact they haven't changed the design too much. I think apart from giving them some rather nasty dental work with the teeth, I think that's really the only thing that they've really sort of gone to town on. But they haven't really changed them a lot from what they look like in the classic series. No. And I like that. So I can overlook it. I think they looked good. I think they were sort of proper scary at times as well. I mean, they really do. There were some bits where the two girls you mentioned in the playground get forced to shed their blobbiness and become Zygon form, and they immediately get killed. I mean, they're pretty nasty, these Zygons. I think they came across as quite evil in it, and I think they worked quite well actually.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, the only one thing that, and I hate like throwing in little negatives, but it's worth mentioning that the design of the costume and thing, it means that they can't move very fast. Yeah, that's the only one thing. So if you had to run away from a Zygon, you'd be okay.
Yeah, that's true. Although they got these. They have to use these gas canisters to try and you know what I mean? They throw them down, don't they, to try and so you can't see they're coming, I suppose. Yeah, but I know what you mean about that.
A bit clunky. They can't really move that fast. But at the end of the day, they've got the zappers. They've got the that reminds me of the they can electrocute people basically and turn them into like little piles of dust and stuff.
Yeah, like tumbleweed, isn't it?
Like tumbleweed, yeah. Which I thought that's what it was.
Yeah. I've only just realised that as well, actually.
Yeah, when Kate Stewart arrived in New Mexico at Truth and Consequences, I thought that was... I'm glad it's not tumbleweed, because I thought, come on. When she comes out of her car and there's like which I thought was a bit of tumbleweed, I thought, come on.
I've only just figured that out as well. That it's actually it's a dead Zygon. Weird. I do like all the symbols as well. You know, I'm thinking of that scene. You got these sort of clawed symbols, plastered everywhere, which I kind of like. I don't really know. I mean, I'm assuming it's Zygon. I don't really know what that is, but I like it. It adds a bit of a sense of dread. Yeah.
Before we talk about the Doctor and Capaldi
and Osgood,
actually, let's talk about Osgood now.
Yeah.
So one of them is gone, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? One of them is no more.
Her sister is buried in the ground.
Yes.
Again, great little bit of in the opening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is she Zygon or human? We still don't know.
It's very weird. As you heard in our clip, she refuses to acknowledge that there's any difference between her Zygon and human self, and the Doctor mentions this hybrid thing again, which seems to be a running theme.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of the, and it's interesting that she's been written that way, where she's kind of embraced both sides of the coin, if you know what I mean. Because there's been two of them legging around. I think the both of them have come to. It seems like they've grown very close.
She sort of embraced, because I think Kate Stewart mentions at some point, you left us an impossible task, and the Doctor says, "Yeah, I know, peace."
Yes,
like sarcastic. Yep. But basically, Osgood and the Zygon Osgood, they've basically embraced that, haven't they? They have decided they are one. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And so she's fully embraced both sides of that. And is it definitely a case of that one of them is gone? Because I've got a theory here.
Oh, go on. I love a good theory.
Because in the Day of the Doctor, didn't Osgood say that her real sister gave her some stick earlier on in life? You know when shortly after she gets copied in Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
This is before the Doctor messes with their memory, so they're not sure which one is which. She gets confronted by the other Osgood. And I'm sure she says something along the lines of, "I know everything you know, I've got all your memories," or something along those lines. And she mentions her sister being quite horrible to her, or being bullied by her sister or something. So maybe it's her real life sister, and there are still two Osgoods legging around.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Do you know, I hadn't thought of that. I'll have to go back and watch now. I think you're right. No, I think you're right.
Well, I could be totally wrong, but that is a theory. The actual character Osgood, before she got cloned by a Zygon, did have a real sister, or does have a real sister. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a good theory. Yeah, she'll have to go back and check that. So you think there could be two of them?
I think there could still be two of them, maybe. But yeah, so I thought Osgood was really good, and I love Ingrid Oliver. I think she plays that brilliantly. I'm
just a little bit in love with her, actually. I just love her. Yeah, I really, really like Osgood.
Yeah, got a bit of a crush on her, to admit.
I do. I just think, I don't know, just everything about her. I just love her, and I really liked the scene between her and the Doctor in the plane, where that bit you played actually, where he's like, "Come on, which one are you?" But after that, they had like a nice little chat. And it was a really lovely scene. Like she's saying, "Oh, you used to wear question marks," because she's like his biggest fan, isn't she?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I still do question mark underwear," and she's like, "Oh, what?" That whole scene was lovely. It was such a short little scene.
Yeah.
But brilliantly done between Capaldi and Ingrid Oliver. It's lovely, and I just love the character as well. Yeah. I think she's slightly toned it down as well a lot. I think she's kind of settled into the role a bit. So I'm loving Osgood. Yeah, I would be quite happy if there was two of them.
Yeah. She is very cool. She's very, and I like the fact that I was going to mention it actually. She's not as boisterous and fangirlish.
Yeah,
as she was in the Day of the Doctor. I think she has, like you say, toned it down, and she's settled into, because a lot's happened to her. Since Day of the Doctor, we think that one of the Osgoods has been killed. Yeah. From that flashback scene where she's at the graveside there, and now this thing's happened where she's made this video, and the Doctor's given her this Osgood box, which we don't know what that is at the moment, and now she's been captured and stuff. So a lot's happened to her. Since we last saw her. So you can understand why she's not like a little Jack Russell puppy anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I like about it. Yeah, she's definitely toned down the performance. I mean, I liked her in Day of the Doctor anyway, but she was a little bit more not playing it for laughs, but like you said, a bit more over the top. I thought.
Yeah.
Whereas this, she's a bit more realistic, and love
was
was
great.
good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. Hoping we're going to. Well, we are going to see more. They're not going to get blown up in that plane, are they? So I'm hoping we're going to see a lot more of her in part 2. I just can't wait for part 2. I just don't know where we're going. Do you know what I mean? That's what I love about this episode. It is a build-up episode, clearly, for part 2, and I really hope part 2 doesn't let us down. But it was a good episode in its own right. Even though it's sort of building up to stuff, it still had loads to enjoy in it, didn't it? Loads going on.
Yeah. Well, as I said earlier on, the Zygons are doing a very good job of putting their plan into action at the moment, and it looks like it's stacked in their favour based on the cliffhanger.
Well, let's talk about Clara, because I don't know about you, but when she ripped the front off that pod and Clara was inside it, and then you realise, well, actually that woman unit realised that actually that wasn't Clara, that was a Zygon, and then we got the flashback. I don't know about you, I didn't see it coming, and I absolutely loved it.
No, that was the twist, wasn't it?
Did you see it coming?
No.
Brilliant.
And when you look back on it, because I've seen this twice now, and when they did like a little flashback scene as well, you know, when she goes into the flat to try and help that little boy, that's the bit where she gets zapped, isn't it, and cloned.
Yes.
And then when you were watching it first time round, early on in the episode, and she comes out of the flat, the Zygon Clara has tied her hair back.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, such a subtle thing.
Yeah, it's that little subtle thing, and you didn't know it. You didn't realise that was the case. And it's not until you see the flashback of when she got cloned. And when I watched it the second time as well, I was like, no. I was like, no, she's a Zygon, no.
So good, wasn't it?
That was brilliant, that twist.
I love Evil Clara. What was the name of the Zygon? Bonnie. Yeah, I'm Bonnie. So it's Bonnie, Clara / Zygon. Yeah, I think Jenna played it brilliantly. She does evil well, I think. She does evil looks really well, Jenna Coleman.
Yeah, well, when she was a Zygon and she was pretending to be Clara, she was very good, because she played Clara just as you would expect. So she hid it very, very well. But that scene where she turns to... I still can't remember that unit character's name. Who's the woman that she knocks about with?
Claudette? I'm going to find out.
Yeah, you could be right. Claudette. Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah?
Claudette, yeah. So when they notice it's actually the real Clara in the pod, and the way that she turns, and her face has just changed somehow, she played that really, really well.
Yes.
Really well.
Yeah, I just loved it. I mean, as I said, I didn't see it coming, and I was properly like bit sort of jaw to the floor at the first. I was like, wow, this is, I think that really sort of topped off what was already an enjoyable episode. It took it to another level to me. I was like, oh, this is just brilliant. I'm loving this. You know what I mean? And she's proper nasty. I mean, she just immediately gets them to wipe out the unit soldiers. She's like, this is an ambush. But that's the thing. When I watch it a second time, obviously knowing at what point she gets turned into a Zygon, I was watching to see if it made sense, because I was did question after I first watched it. Well, why would she do that then? Why would she play along for all that time? Why would she take her down into the tunnel? And so I was watching to see if it worked, and it does just about, because she is doing it to find out information and to lead him into that ambush. So it does kind of work. But I did wonder at first, because it makes it even more enjoyable on a second watch, because you sort of already know stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those episodes you can watch again and get more out of it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've just had a look. That woman might be called Jack, I think.
Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's another one of those moments where our listeners are screaming.
Yeah. The only reason I know that is because I'm just looking on a Phantoms event that she's appearing at, and it says her name's Jack. So
Jay Griffiths.
Jay Griffiths, yeah. So her, yeah. But that was nice actually. It was a nice moment when she's like, I liked the fact she questioned Clara when she was at the pod. She's like, well, Clara, hang on, we don't know that, because Clara's like, I'm actually starting to enjoy this, which is the first little hint you get that something's amiss.
Because she picks up the gun, doesn't she? And that's not like normal Clara.
No, and I was like, hey up. And then the woman, Jack, Jack it doesn't suit her, but Jack, she says, doesn't she? She's like, well, hang on, Clara, we don't know that we can't just wipe all these pods out. We don't know that for sure. And I really liked that. I just love the way it just turned.
Yeah,
was brilliantly written. Yeah,
very,
and
very
brilliantly
cool.
acted as well.
Yeah, Jenna Coleman, she was very good in this one.
She was excellent.
Yeah,
Got to
very
say it. Yeah, she was really, really good in this.
Yeah.
And I just quickly going back to something you said very early on about the Doctor and Clara being separated. Because what I loved about this story is that they're separated from the word go because they're just doing their own thing. So, like, very often in Doctor Who, they'll be together, something will happen, they'll get separated, like in the one in the underground base, where the door's shut and they're separated, and oh my God, they've got. But in this one, they're just living their everyday lives and are already separated. So it made a nice change, if you know what I mean. It was nothing thrown in there to separate them. It's just part of how things were, and it worked incredibly well. Like I said, the fact that she got cloned and Zygoned, and the Doctor has no idea of it at all, it is just brilliant. Actually, in fact, there's not one scene with them together. I've just thought
there isn't. No,
at all.
They just speak on the phone.
Yeah,
leaving messages for Dr. Disco and all that jazz. Let's
Dr.
talk about
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Capaldi before we get on to reviews. Good in this one?
Yeah, good. He is good. Yeah, I think he did he was a little bit in the background, as I said earlier in this one. There's a lot going on. It's not. I don't really mean it's a negative, but he wasn't given all that much to do in this story. But yeah, he's still good as far as I'm concerned. There are little bits of humour creeping in, as I've mentioned before, which I just prefer him as the darker Doctor. But yeah, nothing to sort of pick on this week. I still thought he was good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I thought he was. I thought he was very good. I think he didn't have a great deal to do, but I think that's purely because, like you say, there was a lot going on, and we also had almost just as much importance on the other storyline with Clara, going on and all that stuff with Unit. So what we did see of him, I mean, he was in it a fair bit, to be fair. It's not like it was a Doctor Light episode, but he hasn't had as much to do as previous ones so far this series. But when he was in it, he was still great. Great as the Doctor, yeah.
And he works well with Osgood. As I said, he was, there's some good scenes between the two of them, and there's a real sort of warmth between those two characters. So yeah, in that sense, he was really good as well, I thought.
Well, there was lots of rumours, wasn't there, from when the 50th kicked off, that she could potentially be a new companion. Yeah,
I must admit, as much as I love Osgood, I don't really want her to be the companion, because she's one of these characters I would just like her to sort of pop up now and again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'd always be pleased to see her, but I don't know if I'd want her on board full time. I don't think I'd mind if she was. I'd definitely go with it, but I would like to see a fresh companion come in. I don't think she's going to be the companion anyway, do you?
No, I don't think so.
No.
But
I do love Osgood, but yeah. She's one of those friends I'd like the Doctor to visit, perhaps once a series or a couple of times, every now and again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Encourage her. Right, scores.
Actually, well, yeah, just before we go on to scores, let's just quickly talk about that brilliant cliffhanger.
Oh, of course, yeah, the cliffhanger.
Yeah, wasn't that fantastic? When Clara's just at the side of the cliff with a bazooka. Yeah. She's like, Clara's dead. Kate is dead. Yeah. You are going to die. And I was like, wow, this is brilliant. Firing that rocket off towards the thing, and then I just saw it superb. I guess, yeah, we all know that. I mean, there was no next time trailer, but come on, we all know that they're not going to blow up unless there's some incredible twist. But I thought it was a great cliffhanger, even if you can work out what's going to happen or whatever. I thought it was great. I thought the episode just built and built and built up to that, and it was brilliant. Love Clara in the pod as well. I just thought, God, how's she going to get out of the pod? Mm-hmm. Yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant,
really good. And it does have a classic Who feel to it.
Yes, it does.
These cliffhangers, it's very, very cool, and I like this cliffhanger is almost one of those. It's almost one of those. How the hell is he going to get out of this one? Because he hasn't got his TARDIS with him.
No,
he's got nothing with him at all. So he's completely vulnerable, and there's a rocket heading for the plane that he's on. So it doesn't leave your mind just goes crazy afterwards because you think how can he possibly escape this one
this quickly? Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, I gotta say, it felt quite epic, didn't it? Didn't you think as well? This felt like a bit like Magician's Apprentice and that. It felt almost like a season finale, this, to me.
Yes,
It felt
yeah.
like, the whole scale of it, like, going to different countries and, yeah, there was a lot going on. And I love the whole truth or consequences thing as well. Is that actually a real place?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
So how bizarre. Yeah.
How bizarre.
How bizarre. And finally, just before we go on to the scores, two nice little spots in this one. The first one was seeing the first Doctor's portrait on the unit safe house. Did you like that? Because I know you didn't like the Brigadier one in the spaceship, but did you like the first one?
Yeah, I thought
the first Doctor?
thought this was good. Yeah.
It was a blink and you'll miss it moment, wasn't it? Just he was just on the wall. And the other thing was, of course, there was a thing in the Radio Times online this week about reuse of locations and that. And bizarrely, they didn't mention the tunnel, which is so clearly the tunnel out of Flatline again, which I think we've seen 4 or 5 times now.
At least a few times, yeah.
Yeah, getting good use out of that tunnel.
Yeah.
But it did feel very epic, didn't it? I mean, the locations in it look great. I've no idea where they filmed it at all. I haven't looked, but yeah, it worked brilliantly, I thought.
Yeah, very good.
So let's get on to the scores then.
It's you first, I think, buddy.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go... I so nearly went... I've torn, so nearly went not for a 9, but I'm going to go for 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, and a very strong 8.5. As I say, it nearly notches up to a 9. But yeah, absolutely loved it. Really, really good.
Snap.
So 8.5. You snap?
Yep.
Brilliant.
8.5 for me as well. And that's not... Please don't think that we copy each other when we get these scores, because I've got that written down from a few days ago. But it's yeah, I think it's a very strong 8.5 as well. The reason why initially I thought it was a 9. I thought this is a cracking episode, and I thought I've got a feeling that next week's going to be better.
Exactly, and actually, this was, on the first watch, this was a 9. Then I rewatched it again, and I think. There was nothing wrong with it. There was no reason, but a bit like you, I kind of felt this is the first part. It's a build-up, and there were a few bits, so I did go down to 8.5, but I still thought it was so good. Yeah. But just like you, I really hope part 2's as good. It's got great reviews, I have to say, so far from people who've seen it, like Den of Geek and that. Mm-hmm. And I try not to get my hopes up, because then you're disappointed, aren't you? But yeah, but I just can't wait to see part 2 of this. Really am excited. So yeah, a very strong 8.5 from both of us there, I think. Yeah.
What did you guys think? We got a few audio reviews in.
Oh, great.
Let's kick off with Alex Kingdom.
Hello, Gary and Adam from the Big Blue Box podcast. What an episode. This episode was great. The Zygon Invasion itself was it's smart by Peter Honnis, the writer, and you sort of feel sorry for the Zygons, because didn't they want... this is what I got, that they wanted to show their real form out and they don't want to hide anymore. So you sort of get that side. But what an episode. The Doctor himself was really good. Loved the Doctor. Clara, or Zygon Clara, for most of the episode, finally got something to do. But of course, that got snatched away, because it's not the real Clara. Sad face. That annoying woman from The Magician's Apprentice, did she die? Hopefully she died. And I hate setting that out of characters in Doctor Who, because I love most characters, but she, part of my sci-fi. Oh god, that woman. And, of course, Kate Stewart, again, a great character. In fact, this is my favourite episode of the series, and one of my favourites of Peter Capaldi's run, if not my favourite, because it's great, and it's really political in a sense. And the epic scale of the Doctor, Kate, and that in different countries, and seeing Clara not being Clara at the end was fun. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Anyway, guys, keep doing what you're doing on the podcast, because you guys are doing absolutely fantastic.
Nice one. Cheers, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Let's go to Facebook. Cousins 2019. He's put, wow, the best episode of Series 9. Fave bit from the episode has to be the soldier confronts his mother. And that soundtrack is just amazing. That was a cracking bit, actually.
It really
we mentioned
was.
that, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Other highlights would be Evil Clara. And how is the Doctor going to survive? We have to find out on Saturday. Was edge of my seat every second and loves the flashback to Day of the Doctor. It was used brilliantly. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. Ryan Anthony. Wow, what an episode. Straight away from the pre-titles, I was already excited. Back in Day of the Doctor, I remember feeling annoyed about how the Zygons were just abandoned and forgotten about. But I should have known that sneaky old Moff had been planning something all along. Acting and writing on top form. Capaldi and Carmen were great as always. Overall, I love this brilliantly written episode, filled with exciting scenes, twists, and brilliant acting. 10 out of 10.
Excellent.
Sammy Satine. That was awesome. It asks many questions which will hopefully be answered next week. It was really good to see Osgood, Kate, and the rest of UNIT. Those Zygons are tricksters. Can't wait for more Zygons next week. Great to see the Doctor playing his guitar at the beginning.
Yes.
Lewis Palmer. Well, I loved it. It's great to be positive about the show again. This is going to creep kids out. I can imagine a 7-year-old being scared of his parents because of this, and that's good. He goes on to say that I really think that we're going to look back on this one as one of Capaldi's very best so far. It's great when we get something good. George Coppen. Really enjoyed this one. The Zygons are as scary as ever, now taking the form of our loved ones, and that's what I love about shapeshifters. You never know who is who.
Yeah.
Brilliant episode, and didn't see what ending was coming. 8 out of 10. But just one question to finish off. Whatever happened to that guy helping Osgood from Day of the Doctor? Because he lived, then he vanishes. Where is he?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Good point, yeah.
What's his name? I can't remember his name, but I know who he means. Yeah.
Let's do another audio review. This is our good friend Matt from Who Addicts.
Hey.
Due to me forgetting to comment on last week's podcast, The Woman Who Lived was crap. Moving on. So yeah, the Zygon Invasion was an absolutely fantastic episode. It was Doctor Who back to how it should be. No timey-wiminess, no character arcs, just a stripped-back alien invasion with the Doctor, UNIT and his companion. Like the old days. The old formulas are the best, Moffat. I hope you're bloody listening. So yeah, it was nice to have an episode with so much scale. It felt like they put a lot of effort into this episode as well, which was great. It was also nice to see a villain that actually had good screen time and was actually threatening this week too. 12 was really good. I think there were glimpses of the Rebel Time Lord coming back out too. And Clara, I think it was nice to see her play a very big part in the fact that I never saw her being a Zygon coming. That caught me completely off guard. I absolutely loved that. And I also love the cliffhanger. It left me wanting more. That is how a cliffhanger should be done. And this is a perfect example to how an opening part to a two-parter should be done. So Peter Harness, well bloody done, my friend. This was an absolutely brilliant story. Doctor Who, back to its best. I just hope it stays that way. So I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh.
Very cool.
8.5 as well. Cheers, Matt.
Yeah, cheers for that, buddy. Back to Facebook, Stuart Stockwin. I must have watched it at least 10 times already. It's superb, 9 out of 10.
Brilliant.
Jeff Waddle.
Jeff now. I thought Jeff had stopped watching.
Yes, we thought, yeah, for last week, I think he said he's had enough.
Oh,
so he says, I caught the first 5 minutes. You have to, really. It's like a drug. I couldn't take my eyes off it. By far the best episode since Series 5.
Wow, brilliant. I'm so glad you're back on board, Jeff.
Yeah, felt like old school Who, with the look and feel of a movie. Faultless. Never have there been 2 consecutive episodes so widely apart in quality.
Yes, yeah.
Yep. Christopher Law. What a fantastic episode. Osgood and UNIT return, the Zygons return, and a flashback. What's not to love? The scene with the UNIT soldier and his Zygon mother was so brilliantly written, and the music was fantastic too. Not a fan of Kill the Moon, but Harness has outdone himself here. 9 out of 10.
Brilliant.
Nick English. This episode was awesome. Loved Osgood, loved the Doctor, loved the Zygons, loved the question mark underpants. I reckon they're going to go on sale at some point.
Have you seen that picture that's doing the rounds on Twitter?
Oh, the old school pants.
It's basically a pair of Y fronts with they're in the design of the Seventh Doctor's jumper, basically. So if you imagine the Seventh Doctor's jumper being cut into a pair of Y fronts, that's what they are.
Wow,
yeah, I hope
cool.
they come out. I'll be getting a pair.
Yeah. He said the scene with the UNIT soldier and the Zygon mother was brilliantly written. The music was fantastic. Even though I saw Clara reveal coming, it was still a really enjoyable reveal.
Oh, right.
And I think I've read out Christopher Laws again. Sorry, I was reading Nick English, wasn't I?
I distracted you with the underpants thought. I think.
You did. Anyway, back to underpants. Nick English carries on and says, the only thing I was a little disappointed at was when you discovered that Clara was a Zygon. I wish they have not told me right away and she was taken. I think it would have been better served if we had to wait until the next week to stew over it for a while. But 9 out of 10.
Brilliant.
And Joe Sweeney, he says, wow, I must say very brilliant. Loved every minute of it. It was nice to see flashbacks of 11, 10 and the War Doctor. Capaldi was back at his best. I like the different locations. Great to see Unit and Kate again. I hope we have an explanation of which Osgood really is. Of which Osgood it really is. Only negatives are Sonic Shades and the Doctor playing the guitar. Cliffhanger was brilliant, had me on the edge of my seat. Without a doubt, that was a proper Who episode. Looking forward to next week's episode, a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, good stuff.
And let's finish up with an audio review from Jay Kent.
Hey, Gary and Adam, if you are Gary and Adam. Now, the Zygon Invasion. What an episode. It took a far more serious tone than what I was expecting, what with kidnapping children and psychological torture with the Zygons turning into loved ones, and what were basically snuff films. I love that Who can be scary without being creepy, and that can adopt a much more serious tone to it. The twist at the end was phenomenal, with all the Doctor's friends seeming to be doomed, and I was half expecting the Doctor to be a Zygon himself, but that didn't happen. Anyway, the only negative I have with it is that it did feel a bit slow in places and unnecessary sunglasses, but overall it was a strong 9 out of 10. I think the best episode of this series, and I can't wait for next week to find out the conclusion and possibly what Sapphire is, because that plopped up in the background and, oh, could it be? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, have a good rest of the show and hope you're not imposter Zygons. Goodbye.
Nice one, Jay. Brilliant as always.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much for sending in your audio reviews. It seems to be the same guys who are sending in their audio stuff. So the rest of you listeners need to step your game up.
Yeah, come on. We want to hear your voices.
We want to hear you guys. So anything on the Geeks Handbag page?
Yeah, I had a few. I'll tell you what, I was hoping Martin from Bad Wilf might have commented on yours this week, because he put on mine. Well, first of all, he said he was going to refrain from telling me because last week I gave away my thoughts, if you remember. But he did say basically he'd had a really rough day and he switched off halfway through.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and he was going to give it another watch. So I was really intrigued to hear what he thought of it, but he didn't reply. So Martin, if you're listening, we want to know what you thought of it. Tell us next week.
Yeah.
But I had a couple of ones. James Thomas, my old school friend, he says, "Don't think I've enjoyed one single episode this series so far," which is I'm really sorry to hear that, James, because I know you like Who. Don't know why it's not connecting with you. Adam Time Lord Fishwick said it was good, but thought it could have been better. Really interesting. Mm-hmm. Anthony Stone Street says, decent story, predictable, decent tone. Wouldn't be surprised to see half a dozen off-gone complaints, though. Not sure why. Unless he means because of the sort of... because it was scary. I mean, it was proper dark. That's why I loved it. Mm-hmm. Yanto Williams says, it is Doctor Who at its best. I agree. Aaron David Carvier, if only all episodes could be like that. One of the best ever, in great big capital letters. And finally, Andy Price says... proper old school Doctor Who, amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so good stuff there. A couple of people who didn't like it. Very surprised James is not digging this series. But yeah, mostly really positive, I would have said, on this one.
Yep, really positive, which is good.
Yeah.
Can't wait for next week.
Oh, I really can't, actually. I'm not just saying it. I'm buzzing. What day is it? Well, it'll be Friday, I guess, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out. But
not next week. Yeah, tomorrow night.
Yeah, Saturday night can't come around quick enough. No idea. I never know what time it's on, though. Do you? Like, I seem to... We get to around sort of 7:30, and then I'll suddenly be like, what time's it on? And I'll see other people asking in chats as well, what time's Doctor Who on tonight? No idea what time it's on, but I'll be there, whatever time it is.
Of course.
Yes. Yep. Let's just hope it's as good, because... I can't help but my hopes be high. I've got to be honest. Like I'm trying not to be, I'm trying to sort of be calm and just go. But I am buzzing. I really can't wait to see the conclusion.
Yeah, it'd be cool. And I think we will wrap there, buddy.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us for episode 63. And what a cracking episode to review.
Yes, I love it when Doctor Who makes me feel like this. Love it.
It's how we should feel.
Yeah.
As Who fans.
Well, especially after last week as well, because last week, like Jeff said, was real pales in comparison to this, in my opinion. So yeah, I love it that I'm buzzing for Doctor Who again.
Yeah. And thank you so much for sending in your audio clip to our review, and also for posting on Facebook. As you guys well know by now, we love it when you guys post your thoughts and reviews.
Yeah.
It's all good. Right, so trivia. Last week we asked you, warehouse number what, where the Ood brain is kept? And the answer was warehouse 15. Just one of you guys got that right. It was Nick English over on Facebook.
Well done, Nick.
Well done, Nick. Trivia for this week would be, at what age was the Doctor taken from his family to join the Academy?
Oh.
At what age was the Doctor taken from his family to join the Academy? Send us your answer on Twitter or Facebook, and we will read the correct ones out next week. Yes. So, until then, head over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to this episode again, or you can listen to all of the past episodes that we've ever done. You can also subscribe as well. There's some buttons on there. You can jump over to iTunes and subscribe on there, or there's you can do a search on Stitcher or any of those things. You should find us on there. And also check out Adam's channel on YouTube and Facebook, The Geek's Handbag. He's doing some cracking videos at the moment. What's the one that you're putting on soon?
Next one will be some Sherlock Titans, and then following week will be a TARDIS money box, which talks.
Which talk?
It talks, and it's I filmed it yesterday. I've got to edit it, but it's a fun one. Yeah.
Cool. You've done some really good unboxing vids recently as well. Quite jealous of all of your blind bags.
I'm literally can't even. Yeah, I'm just getting buried underneath all these boxes at the minute.
I was going to say you won't be able to move soon.
I can't. Yeah, I guess I won't be able to leave the house soon, which would be nice.
So yeah, check out Adam's stuff. Really, really cool. And until next week, though. So enjoy the Zygon Invasion tomorrow night.
The Zygon Invasion, yes. Looking forward to chatting through that next week.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Until next week, though. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember, Hello,